The rule of 72, in Albert Einstein's opinion, was a more significant finding than his own concept of relativity. This rule was initially mentioned by Luca Pacioli, who is known as the father of accounting. He discusses the significance of this rule in his 1494 book summary of arithmetic, geometry, proportions, and proportionality, Summa de Arithmetica, Geometria, Proportionalita. Everybody's desire is to be able to double their money in a short period of time. How many times have you wished on a shooting star to have 6 figures in your bank account when you wake up the next morning? I'm here to assure you that it is feasible. It is a reality, not a fantasy. I'll be discussing the rule of 72 in today's video. So pay attention and be prepared to learn. First is the rule of 72. The rule of 72 is used to help you with debt, as well as when defining financial goals, analyzing economic trends, planning for financial goals, and evaluating investments. Calculating how long it will take for an investment to double while earning a set interest rate is how it operates. Here's how to figure it out. Take 72 and divide it by the expected rate of return. For instance, divide 72 by 5 if you anticipate receiving an interest rate of 5%. The result is 14.5. You will need to work for this many years to double your money. This rule has a lot of advantages. For instance, you can easily and rapidly assess whether you are keeping up with the times. Additionally, you can make sure that your financial decisions are being made in the appropriate way. Because it indicates how many years it will take for the value of the initial sum to decrease by half rather than double, it can also be used to calculate inflations. Having stated that, there are certain drawbacks to applying this rule. For instance, it can only be used with assets that compute compound interest once a year. Because it can't calculate rates below and beyond 6% and 10%, respectively, this rule also has some accuracy issues. Nevertheless, resist the temptation to let these drawbacks push you away from the rule of 72. Contact a financial expert who can help you by properly explaining this regulation and directing you in the right direction. The second is compound interest. The rule of 72 only applies to compound interest, as was previously established. Understanding the compound interest law and its potency gives you the key to unlocking the door to financial success. Let's talk about compound interest after we've talked about the rule itself. The wonderful part about it is that your returns will increase as your money is invested for a longer period of time. In other words, the cycle continues as the interest on your initial deposits is added to your original investment. In essence, invest your money in it and then set it aside. Now, you'll apply the rule of 72 to determine how long it will take to double your present funds. Divide your interest rate, let's say it is 6% by 72. This is how long it will take you to double your money. 72 divided by 6 gives us 12, which is 12 years. When it comes to compound interest, go for a high interest rate because the higher the interest rate, the faster your money doubles. To find out how quickly your bank account can increase, contact a financial counselor, ask for the best compound interest rate. Then apply the rule of 72. Number 3 is investments. Your assets can be evaluated using the rule of 72. We all wish to invest at some time in our lives, and you can utilize this guideline to gain valuable knowledge about how long it will take for your money to double. As a result, if you are thinking about investing, the rule of 72 might help you estimate when you might get a 100% return on your investment. As long as you also consider the concept of compound interest, the rule of 72 will work in your favor regardless of the type of investment you make. Let's examine the following situations to further understand this rule. First investment, a 1% annual return on a savings account. Second investment, 5% annual return on government bonds. Investment number 3, mutual funds with an 8% yearly return. Fourth investment, 12% yearly return stocks. Now, estimate how long it will take for you to get a return on your investments using the rule of 72. Put your responses in the comments and describe any patterns you noticed. Do me a huge favor and give this video a like if you're liking it thus far. Number 4. The inflation rate. There may be inflation at the moment, according to several news reports. What does this mean, though, in reality? The rate at which prices typically rise over a predetermined length of time is known as the inflation rate. the inflation rate affects things like household products and services, for instance. Simply put, it costs more to purchase the identical item that you did at the same time last year. We can estimate how long it will take to defeat inflation using the rule of 72. The price will double in 24 years if, for instance, inflation averages to 3% each year, according to the math. However, 72 divided by 6.8 gets us 10.6 if the inflation rate remains at the current level of 6.8%. In other words, costs will skyrocket in just 10 years. By applying the rule, you can budget ahead of time to remain ahead of the curve and avoid being pulled down by inflation. Fifth is savings. This rule offers a number of benefits, one of which is the ability to predict when your savings will double. What is the first place that comes to mind when you think about saving money? Keep your savings at home. Is that it? This is obviously too risky and could be lost easily. Is it trading the stock market? So while there is a greater probability of your money increasing, there is also a greater chance of losing money. Maybe you should create a savings account at your neighborhood bank. If you're fortunate, your savings account could earn 1% interest. And to be honest, this is typically the easiest option to start. Making a budget for savings is an excellent idea, as is making a goal to save. You should, however, be aware of how long it will take to double your investment. Let's now review a few uses of the rule. The time it will take for the investment to double is 72 divided by the rate of return. Let's imagine, for instance, that you want to save $1,000 in the bank. Let's also assume that you will receive an annual interest rate of 1%. Thus, 72 years is equal to 1% of 72. In other words, if you invest $1,000 today, you can anticipate having $2,000 in 72 years. However, I'm rather confident that you won't be alive in 72 years to receive a $1,000 profit. There are lots of investment plans available that can ensure an annual return rate between 4% and 7%. Just conduct a bit of research and meet with a financial expert. They'll be able to show you far better paths to go. Let's utilize the same scenario from earlier. You still have the $1,000, but you now apply it to a savings plan, like an index that offers a 5% annual interest rate guarantee. Therefore, 72 divided by 5 equals 14.5 years. As a result, you won't have to wait 72 years to double your investment. It will happen within 15 years, regardless of how much you invested. It's also secure. 5% is only an example. Actual rates can be higher. The rule of 72 is an all-purpose mathematical calculation that you can apply to determine a variety of things. This can entail calculating how long it will take for your savings to grow or how much money you need to earn to keep up with inflation rates. The one thing we continuously learn is patience in all the things you can apply this rule to. So that you don't have to wait too long, begin your journey toward financial freedom today. I hope that you've gotten great information from this video. Tell me in the comments below how you plan to apply this rule.